Amelia Earhart disappearing message. 1. Amelia Earhart, nicknamed Lady Lindy, was a female American aviator, pilot. She was born in Kansas on July 24, 1897. She set flying records and encouraged women to fly. She is most known for being the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. She was also the first person to fly from Hawaii to the United States mainland, or the 48 states. 2. Amelia's father was a lawyer who worked for the railroad. Her mother came from a wealthy family. As a child, Amelia had many childhood adventures with her sister Muriel. They weren't into girly things. Instead, they played sports, football, basketball, and baseball. They also collected bugs and frogs, and even shot a rifle. Amelia, Muriel, and their uncle even built a roller coaster. Amelia claimed it was like flying. 3. Amelia saw her first airplane at the Iowa State Fair when she was 11 years old in 1908. It didn't spark an interest in airplanes, however. After high school, Amelia attended the Ogant School, junior college in Pennsylvania, but she didn't last long. She quit school to become a Red Cross nurse's aide in Toronto, Canada. She treated wounded soldiers during World War I. During this time, Amelia got to know aviators. She spent her free time watching the Royal Flying Corps practice. At one point, Amelia even tried to become a mechanic and took an auto repair course. After World War I, Amelia attended a pre-med program in New York at Columbia University. However, that only lasted until 1920, when she moved in with her parents in California. Amelia went to an air show with her dad on December 28, 1920. Later that day, she went on an airplane ride with World War I pilot Frank Hawks. At only a few hundred feet in the air, she knew she had to fly more. 5. So Amelia began flying lessons with Netta Snook. By 1921, she bought her first airplane, a Kinner Airster biplane. She nicknamed her bright yellow airplane the Canary. Finally, she earned her National Aeronautics Association license, her pilot license. She was one of only 16 female pilots at the time. She set a record for the highest altitude, 14,000 feet, for female pilots in 1922. Sadly, Amelia sold her plane due to struggling family finances. She moved to Massachusetts with her mom and sister. Amelia then worked as a social worker at Dennison House in Boston, a settlement home for immigrants. She began flying in local air shows and also wrote aviation articles for local newspapers. 7. Meanwhile, there was a keen fascination with aviation. First, there was the Wright brothers' first flight in 1903. Then Charles Lindbergh flew solo nonstop across the Atlantic Ocean in 1927. Now air show promoters wanted to find the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. George Palmer Putnam recruited Amelia for the job. She departed trespassing Newfoundland, Canada, on June 17, 1928, as a passenger aboard a seaplane called Friendship. Wilmer Stultz and Louis Gordon piloted the seaplane, which landed at Bury, Port Wales, on June 18th. Later, Amelia married the promoter, George Putnam. 8. Amelia became famous after this passenger flight, yet she wanted to achieve more. On May 20, 1932, Amelia boarded a red single-engine Lockheed Vega airplane in Harbor Grace, Newfoundland. She wanted to pilot the plane following Charles Lindbergh's flight plan. However, Amelia had to adjust her plans due to bad weather, thick clouds, and ice on the windshield and wings. Her 14-hour flight crossed the Atlantic Ocean was cut short. Amelia landed the plane in a cow pasture in Londonderry, Northern Ireland. Even still, she became the second person to fly non-stop solo across the Atlantic Ocean. 9. In 1931, Amelia became the first president of the 99s, a group of female pilots. After that, being a pilot was no longer just for men. Later in 1932, Amelia flew non-stop across the continental United States. Her 19-hour flight went from Los Angeles, California to Newark, New Jersey. 10. Amelia still pushed boundaries. In 1935, she became the first person to fly solo across the Pacific Ocean as well. She flew from Honolulu, Hawaii to Oakland, California. Between 1930 and 1945, Amelia set 5 women's speed and distance records for flying. 11. Amelia was still not satisfied. She wanted to take a trip around the globe. Her most famous quest and second attempt, Fred and Newton navigated the flight that departed June 1, 1937. They departed from Oakland, California, heading east on a twin-engine Lockheed 10E Electra. The path took them 22,000 miles to Miami, South America, Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. On June 29th, they reached Lae, New Guinea. There were only 7,000 more miles to return to Oakland, California. On July 2nd, the duo departed, heading for Howland Island, which was 2,600 miles away. 12. Two ships marked the route because coral reefs were challenging to see from above. Itasca, a U.S. Coast Guard ship, had radio contact with Amelia. However, Amelia had radioed that they were running out of fuel. The final radio transmission from Amelia said that we are running north and south. The plane vanished about 100 miles from the island. Most experts agree that the plane ran out of fuel and crashed. Her attempt to be the first person to circumnavigate the globe led to her disappearance. What happened to her still remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries today.